revenge, those desire kindled through a raging fire fed for centuries. They know the breaking morning war throughout the world is storming, hushed on daylight's breeze.
Welcome back. I am Matt Collier, producer and co-author of Immortal the Musical.
Hi, I'm Crystal Collier. I am the composer and primary author for Immortal the Musical.
I'm Terrah Denham. I'm the assistant director for Immortal the Musical.
This week, we want to share with you the opening number, The World is a Storm.
This song, funny enough, was not the original opening number of the show. Originally, there was no opening number, and we decided that was a bad thing.
Originally, the show opened with Phineas, the vampire hunter. He was in this town, and there were all of these children gathered around him so he could tell them this story.
I really like The World is a Storm because it opens up the show with this driving energy that continues throughout the entire musical.
We open up where you've got a town, and you actually have two hunters on stage. You have Phineas who's narrating, and you've got his ancestor who's chasing after Lucas. All throughout history, you have this hunter chasing after Lucas, who is the vampire, while Phineas narrates the story. The hunters are chasing him through different towns as the light changes from one town to the next.
Phineas, the current hunter, he's getting really close. He's going to catch him this time.
It is so intense, and I think that's a great way to start a musical, is with a certain amount of intensity that you can only grow from. I also really liked the men and the women singing to each other, almost giving that story of Phineas and the story of Lucas and the townspeople. There was constantly, I'm going to lay this part of the story out, and then the next part with that kind of intensity that makes you just crave more.
There is a lot of syncopation in this musical.
The rhythms in The World is a Storm, and the words, and how it's just da 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 da. I love that kind of syncopation.
Our poor performers were like, what is this?
Trying to get the words along with the rhythms. That's a tough,
when they were looking at the
order.
sheet music, because I'm not a traditional composer. I write straight from exactly what I hear in my head, which means that a phrase may have really unique meter because it's poetry set to music versus here's the beat. Our poor performers, but they did a really great job.
They did, and I have my training in music theory completely different than Crystal's. But I remember listening to the choral parts, and I was like, why does that not sound, it doesn't sound like something that I've heard before. That's not something that you get to hear as a musician very often at all. Just because it goes against all of the classical musical
traditional composition forms, yes.
Yeah.
So coming into The World is a Storm, we have Phineas telling the story, and Phineas is played in the stage reading by Kyle Meehan. And let me tell you, he does such an incredible job.
The vision for this opening scene is that we have a parkour chase between Lucas and the hunter.
So imagine 300 years worth of Lucas jumping off buildings and through windows and doing all kinds of crazy acrobatics. Hunters are chasing him, trying to catch him. 300 years condensed down to in about 3 minutes.
The end of the scene, we've got Lucas who climbs up onto one of the top of the buildings, and Phineas pulls out his crossbow as the chorus is singing in front of him and takes aim, and he shoots Lucas, and Lucas falls down behind the scene where we can't see him. And Phineas is standing there with his crossbow and all his gear, lights down as the rain starts to pour. That's the Broadway version where we actually have rain on stage. That's where we enter the main story of the show.
So we hope you enjoy this. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss. Hit that bell, whatever the YouTube-y thing is. You can find the full music video in the links below. Please join us again next week where we share the next musical number, which is called Lovely Morning.